Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to take the ROG phone, the Republic of Gamers phone made by Asus, and we're going to compare it to the Razer Phone 2 made by Razer. Both of these guys are considered to be some of the best gaming phones that we ended 2018 with, and we're starting 2019 with. So, let's go ahead and see how do they stack up against each other and which one would probably be a better fit for you. This is TK and this is XDA TV. So here we have the ROG phone on the right and the Razer Phone 2 on the left. There's going to be some similarities and of course very unique differences that's going to go on between the two, namely the design. As you can see right at the beginning, the boxy design of the Razer Phone 2 is mimicking what we've seen before with the Razer Phone 1, as well as what the original heritage of this with the Robin phone that started off this entire design. But we do have some new specs that have been updated from last year, namely wireless charging, IP67 water resistance, as well as the fact that we now have a customizable RGB on the back that we didn't have last year. The dual sensors in the back are a standard and a telephoto lens with dual tone LED flash at 12 megapixels. On the ROG phone, we have a slightly different design. You'll notice that the physical size of the phone looks almost like it's a little bit smaller than what we see here. And that's because this is sticking to the 16:9 aspect ratio and this is going more with the 18.5:9 aspect ratio. So we're looking at a slightly different display experience. Fingerprint sensor is on the back where it's here sitting on the side and it's present, I'll go ahead there, on the right side. And it's also functioning as a power button for the Razer Phone 2. We have a couple of exhaust fans here to cool the device. No wireless charging, but we definitely have that nice little design. And we have here two different sensors, one at a wide angle lens, which gives us the ability of having a slightly better experience as far as flexibility. It's telephoto on the Razer Phone 2, but a wide angle lens on the on the ROG phone. Again at 12 megapixels with a dual tone LED flash. But other than that, I think we have other accessories that we can use, the clip-on options, and I'll explain to you guys some of the options that we have for both of these devices. But both provide a very good cooling capability to be able to reduce the heat dissipation that we're going to have with the 845 running at 2.8 gigahertz here maximum speed and almost 2.96 gigahertz on the ROG phone. Both phones are supporting the Snapdragon 845, although clocked in at a slightly different speed, 2.96 maximum speed here compared to 2.8. We have 8 gigs of internal RAM as far as both of them, and the storage that's inside here is a little bit different. We have 128 with an option of 256 and 512. Where on the Razer Phone 2 we only have 64, but we have expandable storage. So you're kind of off trading the capability of expanding the storage with an SD card and getting smaller internal storage at out of the box. And here you just start off by 128 and go all the way up to 512. 4,000 milliamp as far as the battery for both of these devices, so no issue as far as capabilities of handling the amount of power consumption needs that you need to be able to play games for an extended amount of time. Now before we get into the actual UI, let me talk to you guys about the ecosystem that is there for both of these devices. Both Razer as well as Asus have accessories that will work very well with this device. Now Razer does not include anything in the box as far as accessories, but Asus does include this heatsink fan option that plugs into the side port right here. And that basically helps us augment something that we normally don't see on devices. And that's the fact that we can actually have a bottom firing, both not only 3.5mm headphone jack, but also the power charging cable. So when you're playing games, you're not only having to worry about kind of blocking the ports here, because that's where you have the 3.5mm headphone jack. Everything is positioned down, you're getting cooling from the fan that's facing away from you, front-facing speakers, and of course, now we have an augmented, not only 3.5mm headphone jack, but you can still charge your device at the same time. The Razer Phone 2 does support basically a really nice DAC that's included in the box. Unfortunately, that is going to be running over USB-C as we do not have a 3.5mm headphone jack, and this was similar to the way we had the Razer Phone 1. The DAC itself is very nice, but the thing that you want to keep in mind is if you forget the little dongle, you're unfortunately out of luck and Bluetooth will be your friend. Otherwise, here what you're getting is a really good experience with the accessories and the fact that we not only have that, but we also have a really nice EQ built into it to be able to augment the quality of the audio coming out. Now, I don't have all of the accessories for the ROG phone, but there was a wireless gaming controller as well as a dock, and of course just a standard, almost I would say Bluetooth connected controller that just mounts on it, and I had an opportunity to check those out while I was at IFA. Now, the Razer Phone 2 does have some accessories that you can use. Now, you definitely pick up the RGB lit wireless charging pad that definitely works very nice, and it of course works with other Qi enabled devices. Not only that, it also props up as a stand and you could use that. The other thing is the USB-C style hammerhead noise cancelling headphones that were also announced at the same time, having the same logo. A very nice accessory to the phone, but unfortunately not included in the box. And then last but not least, the updated Raiju mobile controller that definitely is not only just compatible with the Razer Phone 2, but it was also announced around the same time. And I think this is a great accessory that you can bring up, adjust, and just basically connect your phone and start playing games in any kind of a situation. And very nice, very portable, Very easy to use. You bring it down, you close it, and then of course you can still charge from it if you need to use the battery that's built in. As far as the display, both of them offer really good technology. Again, the best that the IPS can offer, which is 120 frames per second, and the best that OLED can offer, which is 90 frames per second. And both are customizable as far as going into the settings tab. Also, as a side note, both of them are running Android Oreo. The Pie update has been promised, but have not been actually pushed out to the devices yet. So under display, you'll notice right in here, you know, refresh rate is set to 90 Hertz right now, and a refresh rate, I have them both set at 90, although we're able to go all the way to 120. And you can customize it in both. You can have it either have it all the time at 90 or all the time at 60. There's no adjustment. Where with the Razer Phone 2, we do have the ability of going into the gaming center, and we can customize what games use the refresh rate, and you can have your battery life extended by using a lower refresh rate. Although with the Razer Phone 2 update from last year, we still now have the ability of going for a long amount of time with the 120 frames per second refresh rate. Now, both of them are running custom launchers. We have Nova Prime installed here, and you're able to customize it the same way you use Nova on any other systems. And the main thing, of course, is that they both support gestures to compensate for the bigger display that we have on them. As far as the actual feed, they both have the Google feed on the left side. Again, as I mentioned, we have basically swiping up, you get access to the applications, and you can go in and customize it. And there's additional themes that you can download and install on both of these systems. This is the theme store that's built in within the Razer device, as well as here the one with the ROG phone. You can download, customize, and install, and it basically customizes not just the background, but as well as the icon pack. Now, as far as customizations with gaming, Cortex is basically Razer's answer to that. And then, of course, we have the Game Center here that we have on the ROG phone. Let's go back one more. And the way it's customized here is that they've integrated almost like a pre-curated list of games, and some of them are actually customized to work with 120 frames per second. So you can see the ones that are compatible. And of course, there's a bigger list that's available online. You have access to the library of applications that you have installed, all the games that you have installed and you can play, as well as the fact that you can customize the experience. And when I mentioned to you guys before, we're here, we pretty much had to have either 60 frames or 60 frames or 90 frames per second. Here we can go between 60, 90 to 120, and you can customize basically how the performance is done based on a per game system. And you can customize basically going 120 frames per second when you're playing, let's say an example, PUBG or even Fortnite, but then have it drop down to when you're playing games that don't require it. The Game Center on the ROG phone has a little bit more information as far as CPU and GPU temperature, as well as frequency, memory usability, as well as how much storage you have left on your device. Pressing it in the center turns it on, and it gives us kind of like an active view. And there's that little effect here. Let's go back home. You'll notice, look at the wallpaper in the back, and if I click the X, you'll notice right there it opens up and it gives you kind of like that nice visual effect. We have the ability of customizing not only there, we have the Game Genie if we're using that. There's the air triggers that you can customize on the side here. They're customizable as far as what you can do with them. And you can also customize the fan speed and the LED. So the RGB logo that we have on the back will not only emanate through the phone as it's doing right now, it will also basically carry over to the top. So even when you're using an accessory like this, you're still going to be able to use that. And you can customize not only the color, but the basically the fan speed. When it comes to customizing colors, ROG has that all-inclusive inside the Game Center. You can just scroll down and get to the aura lighting. And here you just have to open up Chroma and you can customize it and then go in there and go between light, medium, or high, as well as not only that, going in there and customizing, let's say, even the pattern that you have. So we can go in here, we can change it between breathing, static, spectrum, and then of course the same thing here. We can go between breathing, static, breathing, strobing, and of course color cycle. So essentially both of them have a lot of customizations and really good basically internal application to help you manage the system from the sense of power as well as also resources. These are gaming phones, so the best experience you're going to be getting on any kind of device in 2018 or even early 2019 is going to be on a gaming phone. And the reason behind that is just from the aesthetics. Again, you have an 18:9 aspect ratio, slightly wider display, not the same form factor here. You'll notice just how smaller the display is, so you're getting a little bit more here as far as real estate. Both speakers are facing us. The experience as far as using the device is pretty good. Now, as far as using wired headphones, you do need to plug in the USB-C adapter here on the right side to be able to play. So then when you're playing a game, if you'll say you're playing a game right there with the phone, you need to make sure that this wire has to kind of go sideways. That's one of the ergonomics you have to keep in mind when you're playing the game. Otherwise, if you're just going to use the speakers, which I really recommend you doing, I think that's going to be the better experience overall, as that's really the most immersive experience that you can get. Now, Gear Club is one of the games that has been rated to work with the higher frequency. As far as here, what we have I'm playing is basically PUBG. We're going into the settings, of course, all the highest quality, graphics and all of that stuff. So click OK, click yes. And all of this will translate into an even smoother gameplay. 90 frames per second is amazing. And of course, if you're able to pump it up all the way to 120, that's even better. So just keep that in mind, check that out. And if you have basically a preference over one from the other, I think it's truly going to be more of what your basically experience is going to be in the other devices. So here we're using it. Let's go ahead and turn on the volume. And you can definitely hear the audio is really good, and you can definitely walk around. There's no stuttering. The system is running already. We already turned on the game center, so we're running at basically peak performance. And if we do need it, we have a way of basically attaching this for more cooling. And the really cool thing about this is, let's say you are playing outside and you need a little bit higher levels of volume, you can turn it on, turn on outdoor mode, and then the sound will even get boosted even higher. I'm going to keep it off right here. I'm going to allow them, I'm in a group follow, so they're going to let us land. And here we're going to experience just how this game works. We're just going to go ahead and go through a quick race. This is Gear Club on the Razer 2. And it's really hard to show you guys a higher frame rate than whatever my camera can actually do on the device. And that's mostly because of the just the way the cameras are set up. The video is going to be produced at basically 30 frames per second. To show you 90 frames per second is almost impossible. But I can tell you that basically the experience, the color, the smoothness of the graphics, everything works so much better. There's no jitters. There's no issues, and the main thing you want to keep in mind is that they both have a good cooling system. Oop, and this is where I'm going to die if I don't get out of here. Now, before we get into the audio quality, I do want to mention that both of them have their own audio tuning. So here we have basically Dolby Atmos. We can go in there as far as the settings. We can customize music, home, dynamic, and even a custom EQ. You can go in there and just set basically how the sound you'd like it to be able to play. So when you look at the tweaking between both of these two devices, you can actually tweak the audio to sound better or louder and basically work from there. So from now, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on to music, and that's what we're going to be listening to. And here, when we're looking at the ROG phone, we can go into the audio wizard, and it does exactly the same thing. Let's go back into it, sorry. And here it is. We'll go audio wizard, and you can go between normal, custom, pop, rock, or vocals. I'm going to go with pop, as that's, I think, overall what we're getting here. And of course, we can control the volume that we're getting here. So we can go up all the way on the volume up here, but we can also increase the volume level here. And keep in mind, we still have outdoors mode. We can also, something we can turn on. So I'm going to jump into YouTube real quick. Here we have volume all the way up to the highest. Again, just to get a feel of how the sound will play between both of them. And I have them both set to music. So we'll go ahead and start off with the Razer Phone 2. So that's about 22 seconds there. Again, both of them sound really good. You get really good experience as far as front-facing audio, and you're not going to be disappointed. And if you want to go headphones, you definitely still have the EQ hops, the customizations to be able to get even better audio. Now, looking over at some of the images that we can get out of the sensors on this device, the first thing I want to mention to you guys is we have two different 12 megapixel sensors here. We have a standard focal length and a wide-angle lens here on the ROG phone, where we have a standard focal length and a telephoto lens here. Both are capable of giving us, I would say, decent images, depending on the sensors and the experience that you're getting with them. But I'm not going to say these are going to be the best cameras on the market. But again, being that this is a gaming phone first, these cameras are going to be great. So as far as the images here, you can definitely see here, I was able to take a standard focal image, and then of course jump into the second sensor and then be able to get a better image, be a little bit closer to the subject. Where here I'm able to fit a lot more with the wide angle lens, so it's kind of a trade-off. Do you prefer a wide angle lens or a telephoto? Because either way you're going to be getting a different experience. Now as far as subject isolation, let's go ahead and one more time here. You're going to be able to see that the images look pretty good, and you're going to get the saturation of OLED, of course, over IPS. And then let's go ahead and go out one more. And here just is a quick image I took in the car, front-facing selfie, and of course, just again, different experience, but they both will generate great images. And here it is one more time. I took a picture of the same flower, and you're seeing basically the subject isolation and how it just does a really good job. It just seems like it's a little bit more overexposed on this image. But again, like I said, these are gaming phones first. Okay, so which one is the better one for you? Well, it's gonna come down to basically compromises and what things are more important to you. If you're looking for a device that basically is like a 5.7-inch display, so it's a big display, 2K display, IPS 120 frames per second, 8 gigs of RAM, expandable storage, front-facing speakers, a great DAC that's included in the box, wireless charging, and IP67 rating. That's something that we didn't have before, as well as a customizable RGB in the back. I think the Razer Phone 2 will definitely give you the experience you wanted and then some. The ROG phone doesn't fail at all. It actually has a lot more stuff to offer as well, but it doesn't have all of the specifications that the Razer phone has. So we don't have a water resistant, and we also don't have wireless charging. But flip that over, we have the 3.5mm headphone jack that's included. We have a bigger display. It is the best OLED display that we can get, so you can get that color saturation there. We also have a wide-angle lens on the back that we don't have on the Razer Phone 2. So when you start looking at those concepts as far as basically these things, if you really value them and really want a great gaming experience, because they both have a lot of accessories, I think the ROG phone will be the phone for you. Let me know in the comments below, which one do you guys prefer? I think both of these devices are amazing. I've been playing with the Razer Phone 2 a lot longer than the ROG, but I've been really anticipating getting this device ever since IFA, so I cannot be any happier just being able to play with both of these guys at the same time. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.